Yeah, no, not really. It kind of feels like I've got a bit of a monkey off my back, to tell the truth. Whereas before, although I never should try and think about the undefeated record, obviously to keep the hype train going, you got to keep winning, and there's always that pressure to get the finish and all this and that. Whereas now it feels like there's a weight have been lifted off my shoulders. It's not like, oh, if he wins this, you'll go and fight O'Malley and you'll go and fight the top boys and push the title. It's kind of none of that, this fight at the minute. It's like new weight class, going in. It feels like when I was with Cage Warriors early on, we were just like, go in there, the fight's the fight, go in there and just, you know, I'm not going to be weight drained, and I'm going to have hopefully enough energy, just go out there and try and stick it on him. Episode 1 of the listening to Australia bang. If it's being losing, keep it moving like a caravan. See feds at the back door, get go, that's what we trap for. Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock them ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hat, rolls back, my flow sharp like a hacksaw. Right, we're back, episode 27 of the Tank the Podcast, and our first, well, if you'd include my old man as not being a solo, then it's the first solo one since, what, before Christmas.
Okay, it's been a while now, isn't it? We've had guest after guest after guest.
Yeah. So hopefully the viewers enjoy mine and your voice as much as I enjoy everyone else's. But yeah, fucking hell, we got quite a lot to catch up on in the world of MMA and boxing. We should add, we're wearing these because we keep fucking up the sound, don't we?
All the time.
My old man's the same. He's drifting in and out back. Yeah.
My paranoid self is just gonna check his back. Yeah, we're all good.
As you see, with a professional outfit. Yeah, we were very organised. But yeah, so if you're wondering why we're wearing the headphones, just so that we know that you can hear us, and we don't have to do with the iPhone footage.
Yeah,
sound like we did with Marshman.
Literally, Marshman, the most watched one, and the fucking sound was off. It's typical, isn't it? But that's the way it goes. Technical difficulties, it happens to everyone. Where shall we start? Well, I reckon we should start with McGregor Chandler, because let's be honest, that's what everyone is talking about. It's hitting all the headlines.
That's the biggest. Well, anything McGregor related seems to be the biggest news, doesn't it? I always say it. I think MMA is not a better sport, but MMA is a more watched and a more talked about sport when McGregor's involved. So, fair play to the UFC. I seen Dana doing like an Instagram live announcement, clicking on it, didn't for 1 minute. I know he did the post, McGregor, didn't he, about being on TUF. He's been asked to coach on TUF, but to pull him in to coach 6 weeks of TUF, the money they must have had to pay him alone just to do that, you know, fair play to him. They've pulled out the bag, because not only are they going to have a massive pay-per-view, they're going to have a massively watched TUF season. Like we said, anything that involves McGregor. And I think, don't know how you feel, I think it'd be a good chance for McGregor to sort of reconnect maybe with, as much as he's got his loyal fan base, he's obviously had a couple of losses and whatever, he hasn't been so active the last few years, to kind of reconnect with the public.
Yeah, he needs to gain favour back, because I think people are kind of going off him a little bit, seeing the Lambos, the yachts. It's really hard to resonate with him, whereas I think if you see him in that setting and he's ripping everyone, giving banter, I think you're going to reconnect, like you said.
I think, like you said, at the minute, he's kind of like this global superstar, and we see him as McGregor, the celebrity at the minute. Yeah. Whereas, last time he was on Ultimate Fighter, he was kind of McGregor, the fighter, like McGregor, the UFC champion. So, I think, number one, like you said, you'll see he's probably still got like the ripping and the trash talking. But number two as well, I think you'll see more of his, not personality, because you always see his, but you'll see like more, not that he puts on an act, but kind of like the real side of him, if that makes sense. The coaching, the passion in terms of wanting to coach, wanting to win, the competitiveness. I think it'd be really good. And Chandler's a good opposing coach as well.
Yeah, and I think as well, you know, Chandler, like, he's really good at being, what's the word? Like, correct, politically correct, isn't he? Whereas I think on this, you're going to see a different side of him, because I don't think someone can be like that 100% of the time, especially when you got someone like McGregor goading you.
Well, I don't think he'll be, if McGregor can't go out of him, no one will. And I think he's going to have to, and he can't sit there and be the respectful guy when you got McGregor hounding him 24/7. Because you know what, regardless of whether they respect each other or not, McGregor's going to be constantly pushing for a reaction. And I think it's like 8 weeks of filming, so it's a long time to be around. You see every season, even the coaches that get on, they start to get irritated with each other, don't they? And
you can't keep it up for that long, can you?
No.
Especially when you know you're going to fight eventually. It's like you being in training camp now for Amir Khani, and he's in the gym every day.
Yeah.
You're going to clash. You're going to butt heads, aren't you?
And it's funny, because I was watching I was watching on YouTube the other day. They put up like the McGregor highlights of him against Faber, the Ultimate Fighter, and he's not even fighting Faber at the end of it, and you can see how much of a wind up and how competitive he is. So the fact that now he's doing it again, but against a guy who's, you know, he wants to go in there and fight, and it's kind of a must-win fight for him, because as good as Chandler is, he has just lost to Poirier, he's lost to Charles, he's lost to Gaethje. I think he's 2-4, something like that in the UFC. So if McGregor loses to him, people are going to start to say, are his days at the top of the division numbered?
I think it's one of them. It's the perfect mix of, they're either going to get all the life out of McGregor now by having him on TUF, and if he loses Chandler, well, they've got loads of content they can use forever on him, or there's going to be another rise. Like, it's one or the other in it. They can't go wrong with this situation because they've got him for so long.
Well, again, and another thing is, I talk about Chandler's form, and that's not a knock on him at all. He's had 4 losses, but all against top 3 guys. Like you say, lost to Charles, Gaethje, Poirier, knocked out Tony Ferguson, knocked out Dan up there. So it's I'm not saying that he's not a good Chandler. It's just like to put yourself in title contention, you've got to beat him. And you know, they would have been easier fights for McGregor to come back to, that's for sure.
100%. He could have took a Tony Ferguson fight or something like that, couldn't he?
And I hear they're doing it at 155 as well.
Are they? Yeah. There's a lot of talk about 170.
Yeah, I get it's not. I don't think it's set in stone, but I seen one of the the UFC insiders kind of say that it's going to be at 155, so that it has kind of, because you know they want to push McGregor towards a title whenever they can. If he goes out there and starches Chandler in a round, which is a big ask. If he goes and starches him, then even if it's at 170, he's not going to push him towards a welterweight title. I think if he's at 155. The UFC will move some things around and make his qualifications, and he'll be back in the title contention.
I know it's like this will be going out after it, but if Volk was to beat Islam and McGregor was to beat Chandler, that's like the perfect fight for McGregor to go for a title on, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, even if Islam beats Volk, it's a good backstory, isn't it?
100%.
You know,
yeah. But he's probably going to
lose. Although Khabib did smash McGregor in way, I shouldn't say smash. Although Khabib did finish McGregor definitely was his toughest fight, but without a shadow of a doubt. And there was talks of he didn't train properly for the fight. He kind of just went in there for a street fight pretty much. He was drinking. You've got and Islam was in the corner for that fight, so then you've got the backstory there. I think either way, there's definitely a path to the title for him. But again, Chandler's no pushover. No one's going to come in there and walk through Chandler. Like you watch how tough Poirier and Gaethje are, and how hard Chandler's had the pair of them rocked.
He's in the mix with them,
the pair of them have had him rocked, and he hasn't looked for a way out. You know, he's not one of the... I know Poirier caught him in the sub in the end, but it wasn't by any means like a gimme. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a hell of a fight to come back to. And
I've never watched like a TUF series, only like them back on YouTube. But I think this is one which I may.
Oh, you go. The best. Let me think like top 3 TUF series. McGregor and Faber. Cody and TJ is a good one because they ate each other. It tends to be one where the coaches don't get. Rampage and Rashad because they hated each other. That's a proper old school one. An honourable mention for who was it? The one that Nate Diaz was on. DJ Penn against Jens Pulver because they didn't get on either. And there's so many you've got Gray Maynards on the season, Nate Diaz, Manny Gamburian, and there's some real good barn burner fights all the way through there. Corey Hill, and that's another class like proper. Wasn't the TV you see today, you know, was watered down. Everyone's got to be politically correct. It was like they didn't give a fuck. They were fighting.
They were all getting wrecked as well.
They were fighting in the house. They were getting drunk. They were smashing the house up, smashing each other up. Dana's going off his head every 2 minutes, threatening to kick him out. So,
Chael and what's his name? Vanderlei, was it?
Chael and Vanderlei.
See that, but I've just seen the clip.
Yeah, the problem with that was it was Ultimate Fight to Brazil. So it was like, for us to watch, we'd have to watch it because it was full of Brazilian contestants. Brazilian? What did I say? Brazilian, right then? Brazilian contestant.
That's a new type.
So it was subtitles. But yeah, the Ultimate Fighter, when it's good, when you got 2 coaches that don't like each other, especially when they're going to fight at the end. What was another good one? Was Joanna as well. Joanna and Claudia Gadela, I think her second name is. That was a good one. Again, GSP and Koshak. There's some... If you've got a Fight Pass, go back and watch some of them through. There's some real good, old school Ultimate Fight is the best type of TV, especially if you're an MMA fan.
Bisping ever coach, or was he just a contestant?
No, yeah, Bisping and Maya Miller, that was another one.
Yeah.
Hated each other, just at each other constantly, and because they hated each other so bad, it had the two teams hating each other as well, so the two teams were trying to scrap all the time. But in terms of the fight, I think stylistically, as long as Chandler doesn't come to just predominantly wrestle, which I don't think he will, because he loves to tear.
He loves to be in the fire, doesn't he?
I think it's a very winnable fight for McGregor. Again, no, and not McGregor's taking on defense, because if you look on paper, he's stuffed a couple of Khabib. He's never really been pinned other than the Khabib fight, and
he's a good anti-wrestler, isn't he?
Who hasn't been pinned by Khabib. So yeah, I think McGregor will ultimately beat him, providing, number one, he is getting older a bit. He doesn't get chinned, because Chandler does it like a friggin' like a Mack truck, and number two, providing Chandler don't just pin him for the 3 rounds.
Do you reckon McGregor, like looking at him now, I'm sure he will, because if he commits to it, I think he's that type of guy. He's going to make weight no matter what. But looking at him, it does look like it's going to be a bit of a struggle, doesn't it?
I don't know. I think personally, McGregor would have you believe he's a lot heavier and a lot bigger than what he is.
Yeah.
He was on the certain supplements for his film where he's out the USADA testing pool. He's obviously back in the pool now, because I think you've got to be in the pool 6 months before you can fight. So obviously he must be going in the pool now, hence why they're going to fight in like September or whatever. I think he'll make the weight. I don't think he'll struggle for 155. I seen a picture of him sparring yesterday or the day before in a boxing ring, and he didn't look small by any means, but he looked a lot smaller than what he did on that film set with Jake Gyllenhaal.
He looks like a beast, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is a beast. He's an athletic freak. He is the type that if he did just go on a dedicated muscle gain, he probably could balloon up to wherever. Yeah. But I think if he commits to one, and that might be the reason why they're doing it, because obviously I think the show's airing in May till August, so they're not going to fight till September at least, at the earliest. So I would guess that's the reason why it gives him plenty of time. And I think Chandler walks around 190 anyway.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Chandler ain't going to have like an easy cut either. I don't know why they didn't just do it at 170. I get the title thing, but we know they're both lightweights. Just let them fight at 170, and let's see them both massive.
I think you see a better fight.
Like, 100%.
Imagine the chin on them both if they didn't have to cut the weight. It'd be hell of a scrap.
The other thing as well is it's obviously going to be a 5-rounder main event. It'd be interesting to see how both of their cardio fares, because obviously McGregor's known for being a guy who's explosive early on, and he has faded in fights. The way we haven't seen Chandler go 5 rounds yet, but the way he fights, because he's just so much of a lunatic in the first round, you see him slow a little bit in the third, which makes you think, will the 4th and 5th be the same? Would he fight a different fight if he knows he's got to go 5? Or would they just both think, F it, let's throw caution to the wind.
I like to think so.
Let's just meet in the middle and have a 1-round barn burner. If they do, I think that'll suit McGregor. If not, again, it's all if, ands, and maybes at the minute. Let's hope that... Do you know what else I've seen is that the contestants is going to be half newbies and half UFC veterans who've been cut, or not, you know what I mean? Have had fights in the UFC, and they're going to have like a team of vets against a team of...
They need to mix it up, don't they?
New school. I think that would be quite good to watch, tell the truth.
Get Marshman on there.
Oh yeah, we get the... I'd love to see
that would be class. He'd make great telly on there as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd either get cancelled or become a superstar, wouldn't he?
He got nothing to lose. As far as getting cancelled, he's not planning on fighting, is he? So he's got nothing to lose in that.
No. I'm sure we will revisit it, obviously, when it all starts, but early on prediction for me will be McGregor knockout.
Yeah, I can't go against that, to be honest, because I want to see him. I can't help it. No matter what, I always want to see him win. I got like an attachment to him winning. I don't know. It's weird.
Nick Pete, who worked for BT Sport, Scouser Nick, that does UFC work for BT Sport. Got the Fight Disciples podcast, him and Adam Cottrell. And he always says he's in the Conor McGregor business because everyone in MMA benefits more when Conor McGregor's around. There's more buzz about the sport. There's more eyes on the sport. For people like me and you, there's more stuff to talk about. More people are inclined to watch a McGregor podcast than they would be to watch, a podcast about the fight night next weekend.
100%.
So when McGregor's in the sport and when he's on form, it just seems to be more buzz about the sport, you know. And I'm looking forward to not just having him back for one fight and one fight week. Like the fact we're going to get 8 weeks of him on TV is going to be. I just hope nothing comes up in between and
stops it
from happening. Do you know what I mean? But
it's going to be gold, isn't it? It's better. What do you think of all this power slap stuff? Like, because I can't get.
I can't.
I can watch a clip and be like, ooh, but then it never changes. There's no like intricacies to it, is it?
I can't get my head around it at all.
It feels like a big waste of money, like, in time.
It's giving off early UFC 1 vibes where everyone's like, what the fuck are they doing promoting this? But I just don't see where it goes. It's not a sport. They're not athletes. They're just big, strong guys who just belt.
I seen somewhere they were getting paid they offered an ex-UFC fighter $2,000.
$2 to show, $2 to win.
Like, to win, like, fucking...
I literally... I know you wouldn't have to...
It's just mental.
How would you train? You can't train for a power slap.
Well, you just got to hope you don't get knocked out.
You can train your strike, can't you? But you can't... You got to... Literally, I bet 95% of those fights is whoever wins the coin toss wins. Whoever gets the first slap in wins. But I can't get my head around it. Like, for a company as big as the UFC to kind of go all in on it, and whatever, they know what they're doing, I get, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it don't make no sense to me. It's like, I feel as if the power slap the last 6 weeks have had more promo than Volkanovski versus Islam.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
The last time we had a fight like this, where you got pound for pound 1 against pound for pound 2, champion v champion, the only other fight really I can think of where we had that was kind of like DC and John Jones, the second time round, where, or even the first time round, they're both of the fights, where you could argue both of them two were pound for pound 1 and pound for pound 2 in their prime. All right, it wasn't like the champ v champ thing, but that's a lot. Like 7 years ago was probably the last time, and then it's like, I was this like because I was out at Jackson's when they done the DC, when there was DC versus Jones 2. I was out at Jackson's and I was there when they were doing, and like literally like they shut the gym down for 3 days to do this big fucking countdown promo, and it was massive. And I remember I was out there like 7-8 weeks before the fight, and there was this constant like constantly feeding you about the fight. They were having face-offs, Joe Rogan. This just feels like there's been none of that for this.
Yeah, like, well, there hasn't been.
I seen Islam do and again, we don't harp on too much because obviously this podcast is going to come out after the fight. But like Islam was saying, why haven't we done a world tour? You know, Australia, Russia, America, Europe, where we do a press conference, because it is like, it's not only champ v champ. Volkanovski is number 1 in the world, all weights. Islam is number 2 in the world, all weights. Whoever wins is going to massively propel him. So I just can't quite work out how it's had less traction behind it than the power slap.
Yeah, and also for me, I think it's a really bad ploy doing this power slap, because when you see the fact that a lot of the people's criticism of the UFC is that CTE is an issue and they're going to have brain trauma, and then you're doing something that, like, you can't even say, well, it's their job to use technique to get away from them issues. This is literally asking for it, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're in the fire, like.
They chin up in the air, hands behind your back. Well, they seen them holding that rubber thing, haven't they, so that they can't, they can't really flinch or it. I don't know.
There's no, like, you got to defend yourself.
No,
like it's totally the opposite of what
it doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of like
a slap in the face.
I just can't. I cannot work out the logic behind it, and I think within 18 months, it'll be gone completely.
You can cut this out if you want, but do you reckon he slapped his missus for promo or what?
No, I don't think he did. I think that was just very poorly timed from Dana.
Do you reckon it was in his head, like, because he'd been watching so many people slap people?
He was just like, she's having one back. What I will say is I don't condone anyone hitting their misses, but if everyone just kept their hands to themselves, men and women, then we wouldn't have many of these issues about. But
yeah, it goes for both.
It goes both ways, but at the end of the day, as a man, you should know better than to slap a woman.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also think a woman should never, no woman in their right mind would smack a man in the face anyway. But I'm not saying I necessarily warrant.
Yeah, if my missus smacked me, I wouldn't smack you back.
No, of course. But
she shouldn't also smack me.
At the same time,
I'd be walking away.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
So, not everyone's the same way inclined, are they? But,
especially when drinks involved and things, I suppose things change. But
well, before we get cancelled.
Yeah.
I get fucking sacked.
Jack's been cut from UFC London.
What we got next? Tommy Fury, Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Do we think it's going to happen?
I don't know if it's going to happen.
What we know, 18, 19, or 17 days out, didn't we? Something like
we're
that.
about 18 months into talking about it.
Yeah.
We? So I just
there was a press conference yesterday in Saudi that I seen Tommy Fury didn't turn up to.
Really?
I've just listened to the Ariel Awani show and Mike Perry's on standby.
I'd prefer to see that at this point.
I would rather see Mike Perry and Jake Paul.
He's more legit. Coming off a win with MVP, bare knuckle boxing.
Mike Perry will make a fight of it to every fight.
Yeah.
He'll just come out there, meet you in the middle, and just try and knock your block off. Like, Tommy Fury is wild, in my opinion, because he's... And I'm not saying this as a hater, because I'm never going to be a world champion boxer, even myself. So, I don't think he's got the talent to become a world champion boxer. I think he could probably win a British title, you know, if the cards fell in his favour and he had a good promoter. But I don't see him going on and competing at world level. So this is probably the biggest payday he's going to have, boxing-wise. I think he's had 2 mil or something like that, wasn't it? Something along those lines, give or take. Excuse me if I'm out by a couple of mil either way. This is the biggest payday he's going to have. He's already flunked it twice. So he's lucky that it's coming round the third time. And now he's not turning up to press conferences to help sell the fight.
Do you think he's worried he's going to lose? Do you think that's like...
I don't know if he is. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. You've got Tyson saying he just as well stay in Saudi if he loses. You've got Jake Paul have picked up the narrative of, well, I'm a YouTuber and I've run with it. I'm a YouTuber. Your brother's the best fighter on the planet. You've been boxing all your life. You should knock me out.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the pressure... He can give it all he wants at the stare off on the face. You can't tell me the pressure's not adding to him a little bit. And as good as he may feel, or as people may feel, as better, they may feel a lot better than Jake Paul, that pressure can play games with you. Jake Paul's going to know nothing to lose.
No, I agree.
If Jake Paul gets knocked out in 30 seconds, what happens? He says, oh, well, didn't do bad, beat a couple of UFC champions, made multiple millions. I've set up a promotional company where I'm promoting fighters in Amanda Serrano. He's now in the PFL. He's got shares in the PFL. He's got shares in Endeavour. He's looking at starting a fight. If he gets knocked out, he goes, oh, well, I'm a YouTuber. So
he can still fight again, though, because, like...
KSI,
yeah,
Andrew Tate,
his brother,
Mike Perry, his brother. There's still other celebrity fights out there for him. But if Tommy loses to Jake Paul, I would bet a healthy amount of money that he don't ever fight again. Because if he loses to the YouTuber, even though he's not... And I don't like that narrative, right? Because he isn't a YouTuber. He lives and breathes fighting. He's got a multi-million-dollar team around him. He's got full-time boxing coaches, sparring partners, S&C. He's got his own gym. You know, his coach was a good level pro and a good level coach himself. So he isn't, in my opinion, he is a pro boxer. Yeah. But if he loses to Jake Paul, the YouTuber, where do you go from there? I
think there's only one fight he'll do after that. And it'll be because he's fighting anyone and everyone at the minute. He'll be like Floyd Mayweather. Because he's fighting that Aaron Chalmers. Have you seen that?
That's fucking nuts as well.
I think he'll just fight anyone with 1 million followers now.
Well, he will have to go down the route of, I have to be a YouTube boxer essentially, because if he loses to Jake Paul, he's not gonna push his boxing career anyway other than down. And
I think he'll lose. I know it's like
it's a 50-50
out there to say, but I think
it's crazy to say that Tommy Fury been boxing all his life and Jake Paul have been boxing 3 years is a 50-50 fight. But I generally think it is a 50-50 fight. But, you know, you've got people saying you are Lyndon Arthur, who's a really well-established pro champion, saying that Tommy it's really hard. Tyson saying it's hard. Are they saying it to promote the fight? Do they mean it? We know Jake Paul it's hard because we've seen him starch Woodley. All right, starch Ben Askren and Nate Robinson, but he dropped Anderson Silva, and 50 years of age or not, Chavez didn't drop Anderson Silva, and Tito Ortiz didn't drop Anderson Silva, and, you know, whatever.
Did Israel Adesanya drop him?
No.
Little gloves?
No.
As well?
So, say what you want, whether he won or lost that fight. I only watched it in final. Some people want to hate a little bit and say he lost it, but he still sat Anderson Silva down. And that was, we can say he's 50, but like I say, he was coming off beating Julio Chavez Jr. So
I would have liked to have seen Tommy do like a Woodley fight first, just to see some sort of...
Well, did you watch Tommy fight Anthony Taylor on the Woodley Paul undercard? Anthony Taylor's fought a bantamweight, £135. He fought Tommy Fury at 81 kilo. and made a fight of it. Like, and I know he didn't have his dad, and he said it was the fighting away and the travel and all, but like, come on, like you'd expect him to start Anthony Taylor. I tell you who Anthony Taylor's fighting on Masvidal's fucking promotion is Paul Daly.
Is he? Yeah.
He's
going to get knocked out.
Paul Daly might well fucking, I don't know, he might, I don't want to say kill, but he might put Anthony Taylor out in a bad way. Because if there's one thing Paul Daly can do is bang, and now he's going in it to bang without having to worry about being taken down either.
And he's a beast as well, isn't he?
Do you know Paul Daly got bigger hands than Brock Lesnar? When he was in the UFC, they had to make him custom gloves, and the only other person they made custom gloves for was Brock Lesnar. And apparently, Daly's was a size above.
What's he done to even create them?
I don't know.
Even happen?
I just
know. Just luck of the draw.
I just know he got left up from Al. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry to go back to Jake Paul, Tommy. I don't really. It's a 50-50 fight. I wouldn't be confident picking one over the other. If I had to bet, I would just pick Jake Paul on the outside, a chance that he's going to go in there and not really give a fuck. He's just going to go in there and think, right, well, do you know what? What have I got to lose? You know what I mean? All the pressure's on Tommy, really. So we'll see what happens.
Have you seen a lot of the Masvidal releases? Like Roy Jones Jr., who's he fighting again?
Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, that's just an insane... When he said he had a big announcement, he went on a Helwani a couple of weeks ago and said, I'll tell you next week. But I couldn't believe that was the announcement.
I wonder what the crack is. Is that a real fight, or is it an exhibition fight, Roy Jones and Pettis, or what?
Is it counting as a pro? Like, yeah, I don't know.
I'm even if it's not licensed, as a pro, are they actually going to go in there and like fight to knock each other out, or because Roy Jones has still got it, he just can't take a shot. No, the guy's 50 odd. You know what I mean? Obviously Pettis is past his best as well, but it's kind of like
it's fun though, isn't it?
It's fun to watch. What ones did he announce?
I've seen some good ones.
Jacare's fighting Vito.
Is he?
Yeah, Jacare's boxing Vito Belfort.
Do you think though now, you know, like with all these promotions doing this, is this kind of hurting the UFC's like structure? Because a lot of people aren't going to want to fight long-term deals when they know they maybe can rise as a star and get out and earn a mill doing this.
I think it is. Yeah, I think slowly but surely it is hurting them because, as you said, you can establish yourself now as a big name, you get a million followers, and you can think, right, I can go off and box another MMA fighter now in a boxing match on an undercard of a KSI or Jake Paul fight, and I can make $500,000, which is a hell of a lot more than what some of the boys in the top 10 are making. So are you going to be so keen to sign an 8-fight deal? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at Aldo. I just seen that now. Aldo's fighting Jeremy Stevens in a boxing match.
That's an awesome fight as well, isn't it?
They fought in the UFC a couple of years ago, and I'd love to see what they got paid for their UFC fight to fight each other in comparison to what they're getting paid to box each other. I bet you're talking triple, maybe even. Aldo's not fighting for cheap.
Someone's invested heavily in
Aldo
this.
was probably on, I would, if I had to guess, $750K a fight in UFC because he was our biggest star. So for him to say, no, I'm going to walk away and I'm going to go and box, like, it's a massive, to be fair to Mazda, I don't know who's invested in it, but
that's what I mean.
It's a hell of a card, like, because he does like the bare knuckle and all that as well, doesn't he? And I don't know, like you said, I think it does hurt the UFC, and like Nate's gone, Francis is gone.
Yeah.
Well, Masvidal's running his own show now. Is he starting to think?
And he's fighting Burns as well, isn't he? I wonder if Masvidal will just duck out and set his own
That's
fight.
what I'm saying. Is he going to be thinking, I've got 2 fights left, let's get these done. I'll run my own promotion. I'll establish, because what he's establishing is a kind, not a freak show, but like a cross-promotion thing where you got MMA fighters and boxers boxing. Does he think, right, I'll headline that? Because he's a big enough start to sell some stuff and pull in some sponsors. So I think it does hurt the UFC slowly but surely. It's kind of starting to change. When you look like this year, Aldo's walked away. Nate's walked away. I heard Eddie Earn talking about he's had conversations with Nate Diaz's team.
Yeah. You look at, like, you've got Misfits boxing, you've got Gamebred boxing. Say if they start putting on a show a month at different times, like, the young crowd are going to tune into the Misfits. Yeah. The old people who were into all these nostalgic UFC fighters are going to tune into that.
They cross-promote.
Yeah, are the UFC going to start being like drowned out a little bit? You're going to watch 2 of their events a month instead of 4.
Times are changing. It's weird times at the minute because like before, if you went back 5 years ago, you'd think this is a lot of shit. But
it's becoming real now, isn't it?
It's becoming real.
And I want to see it more as well now because they are making better fights because people are more open to it.
Well, let's push on to the next topic. Obviously, Francis Ngannou's obviously left the UFC. I listened to Eddie Hearn. You know, he wants to fight. It looks, done it on paper, it looks if he wants to fight Fury, Wilder, or Joshua. Eddie Hearn was on Ariel's show last week, and he was saying on there that he'd had conversations with Francis, and you know, he said he can really see him working something out, because it was kind of along the lines of, look, who do I need to speak to get a deal figure? And he's like, you speak to me. You don't need to speak to no one else other than me. And Eddie Hearn made a really good point. He said, I think he should fight Anthony Joshua. And he said, I think he should fight. He said, to be fair, he said, whether it be Joshua, whether it be Wilder, or whether it be Fury, he needs to fight him now. Because at the minute, the selling point is the unknown. Like you said, yeah, Joshua could well go in there, box his head off and knock him out. But if Francis connects, he could knock Anthony Joshua spark out. He said at the minute it's the unknown. The problem he said he feels like they may run into is if Francis ends up taking a fight with, let's say, Chisora on a Misfits card, for example, and doesn't look great, maybe wins, but doesn't look great, gets tired, then the appeal of, could he beat Joshua? Could he beat Fury? It kind of diminishes it a little bit because, well, just basically because you know for a fact Joshua, Wilder, and Fury would all have their way with Chisora in his current form. I mean, he's well past his prime. If he does all right against Francis, people are going to start saying, well, he's got no chance against the top three. Whereas now, if they booked him against Joshua or him against Fury, let's be honest, we would all tune in to watch it because it was like McGregor and Mayweather. Deep down, we knew the crack. Deep down inside us, we knew Mayweather was going to outbox him. The best boxer of all time, or arguably, at least the best boxer of his generation, 49-0, was going to fight an 0-0 MMA fighter. We all knew deep down what was going to happen, but the thing that kept pulling us in was that unknown. McGregor's been unstoppable in the UFC. If he catches him, he could knock him out.
Yeah, you sell it to yourself as well, didn't you?
Now, if McGregor had fought, let's say, Pacquiao, and Pacquiao appointed him, then that Mayweather fight is nowhere near as big, doesn't happen. So I think it's the same sort of scenario here. He's got to fight one of them next.
All in now, isn't it?
All in now. And it's looking pretty promising. Like, Joshua's fighting in April now. It's kind of a gimme fight against Franklin, in my opinion. Could quite easily turn around and fight in August, September. Fury has come out and said, we're trying to make the Usyk fight. If we can't make the Usyk fight, we'll fight Ngannou. I seen Wilder come out yesterday and say, let's throw a curveball. He said something along the lines of, it's always the MMA fighters coming to boxing. Let's sign a 2-fight deal. You fight me in boxing, and then I'll fight you in MMA.
Could you imagine?
And Wilder gets stick, but I don't think Wilder's a bullshitter. I think Wilder would legitimately sign him would sign a 2-fight deal and would fight him in MMA as well. And I'll be honest with you, I would watch Wilder have an MMA fight, because if he fucking touches you with a 4-ounce glove on, you are going to sleep. I don't care how big how big Francis is. If Wilder touches you with a 4-ounce glove, you may never wake up. So
2 of the biggest punchers in history, that would be then as well, wouldn't it?
Wilder is the biggest puncher in boxing history. The biggest puncher in boxing history. Pull up his record.
He's only light as well, isn't he? That's what's mad about it.
When he drew with Fury, right? Fury weighed in something like 270 something. Wilder weighed in 209 or 211 pound, and he had a pair of joggers on and this big fucking metal mask. So he was probably 205.
He could be cruiserweight, couldn't he?
And anyone other than Tyson Fury there is legitimately starched. What's his record, Wilder?
43 wins, 42 knockouts, 2 KO losses, 1 draw.
And the 2 losses and the draw is to Tyson Fury, who is without a doubt now, we know, the best heavyweight of this generation.
Yeah, beat everyone else.
Doesn't matter who he's fought, right? If you've got 43 wins with 42 knockouts, and the guy he did decision with, he went on to knock out again then the second time round.
Yeah.
Then he's the biggest hitter of all time. I know people will come for me now, I expect, in the comments, say, oh, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was a big hitter, but fucking hell, 42
not
from...
compared to that.
Statistically, 42 from 43, 205 pound, give or take, knocking down, well, practically knocked out Fury, didn't he? Somehow Fury rose from the dead, but anyone else was starched out.
Imagine that didn't happen for Fury. Imagine he didn't get up that day. Like, things would look so much different, wouldn't they?
Oh, it'd be wild. It'd be wild. We wouldn't be talking about Fury. We probably would be talking about Fury Joshua, because Wilder probably would start Joshua as well, and then
Wilder would have just carried on beating the top then, wouldn't he?
I think Wilder's still got potential. He's never going to beat Fury, but I think he could beat. I think he could beat Joshua. I think he's looking at fighting Ruiz, and I think Usyk is by far the superior technical boxer. But the size, like if Wilder hasn't even got to catch you clean. He's got to hit you with a glancer.
He hit Ortiz in the forehead.
In the forehead.
Knocked him out.
If you're gonna get punched, right? If someone's gonna punch you in the face and they say, "Where do you want me to punch you?" and if you won, I get punched in the face, and your best chance of not getting sparked out, you say, "Punch me square in the forehead."
You see some people trying to take it on the forehead, don't they?
Your head, take your neck, you just went boof. Who was the guy he knocked out? I think it was Charles Martin. He rocks Charles Martin. The ref gives him like a standing count. He just comes out. He just goes, boom, bazookas him down the pipe. Hits him that hard. He like hit him, pulled his hand back. I've done like a 360 spin because he just knew. He was just like, well, that's that done. You know what I mean? He's not getting back up off that.
Imagine having that confidence in your right hand though. Just to know, like the second I touch you, it's game over.
And do you know what I liked about Wilder as well? You know, in the third Fury fight, Fury was sticking it on him early when I think he knocked him down in the second round, didn't he? He was completely bollocks, Wilder was, by the 4th or 5th round, and still put him down in the 5th or 6th, didn't he? And you thought, he's all right, he's back up. And then he put him down again in the 7th, and you could see the look on Fury's face, thinking, I can't take many more of these, I better switch it on. So, like, even when he's tired, even when he's hurt, even when the fight's done, he's beat, he can still pull it out. And, like, that is why we always watched Mike Tyson, why we always watched Francis, why we always watch people like Derek Lewis. The heavyweights got that stigma of, doesn't matter how far he's down, he can pull out that one-hitter quitter. And Wilder against Francis Ngannou, someone's bound to get knocked out. There's no way that one's going to decision.
No. We haven't talked about your fight, really, on the podcast at all, have we?
No, we haven't. Again, because we've had so many guests.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling much, it's cliche to say, but much better at this weight. My training is a lot more specific now. I'm still running, but not running as much as I would have been at bantamweight. I'm doing a lot more technical sessions. My sparring sessions are kind of like the main focus of the week, where I can make sure I can plan all my other training around that, rather than
weight loss.
Rather than like, right, you got to run in the morning, go in the afternoon before you spar kind of thing. So I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling strong. Excuse me. My fitness is really coming together now. Like I did. We did a sparring session Wednesday. I think we're just over. We're 5 weeks out today, but we were just over 5 weeks out, and I did 5-minute rounds of MMA sparring comfortably. Didn't feel tired. Strength is still good in the sessions. Cardio's always there. Sharpness is getting there as well. You know, there's certain things you're working game plan wise that I'm starting to pull off in the gym against good level boys. We got some really good sparring partners in as well. Obviously, people like Brett with their wrestling, but people like we got Jack Evans now from Swansea, or Jack Wan, I've been calling him. British champion, K1 fighter, can fight both stances. So been giving me loads of looks from Southpaw, and just people. Yeah, we got Kane Darcy, who's like an elite level amateur. Yohan, who's a high level amateur, who are giving me positional rounds. So yeah, I'm feeling really good. And at the minute, touch wood. Is this wood? Touch wood. I'm on the main card at the minute.
Yeah.
So
happy days.
Providing they don't stitch me up last minute again, we might see me on the main card. So I mean, we'll see what happens, I suppose.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll be a big call fight week when they'll be on the case again.
The boys will be rioting again. But
I see you sparring with that Rory Evans, is it?
Yeah.
I watched him on Cage Warriors his last fight. Did he tore his knee or something? Didn't he?
Yeah.
But that was an insane tear up.
So Rory've joined us now. He's kind of got like his own. He's in partnership with his own gym down Swansea, but he comes up to us 4 nights, so he's going to fight out of the gym.
Cool.
He's another one. I mean, he's only been with us since November, and you can see the difference in him already. But yeah, he fought, I don't know if it was his last fight or maybe the one before. He fought Wesley Meyer. I fought Wesley Meyer in the Ice Arena a good few years ago. And he's a really good striker, good Thai fighter, fast, fit, strong. And I was up there watching Rory fight him, and I thought Rory'd beat him, but I thought it's going to be a tough fight. And you fought like shit at the fan, because I think Rory tore his knee in the first round. Like, he was on his feet and he was literally like stepping back on it.
It was brutal, wasn't it?
Falling over. And yet, he's tough as fuck, Rory. He's tough, he's hard. mentally he's strong. He's a hell of a wrestler. He's a really good level black belt. His striking's really good. He physically couldn't strike because he couldn't stand on his knee. And
just to grit that out there, wasn't it?
He just grinded him out, just broke him in the end. I think the kid, like, seeing his Wesley's great, and as long as he's dictating the fight, he's loud and he's like screaming, and which is great. But then when you got someone in front of you that's just like, no, I'm not going nowhere. And I think eventually Rory broke him. It was just, like you say, he couldn't stand, and he still managed to grind him out, tire him, and just stick it on him. Yeah. So I'm excited. He's fighting... he's got a tough fight. He's fighting Liam Gittins. Liam Gittins fought horse. He's from Next Gen. He's been about the UK circuit for years, Liam Gittins. He kind of jumps between flyweight and bantamweight. He's had some big wins on Cage Warriors. He has, like, constantly, every fight he has seems to be bonkers, fight of the night style fight. So... him and Rory will be a good one for the fans, but obviously I think if Rory turns up how he's turning up in the gym at the minute, then he's trouble for anyone in our division. He doesn't look big. He's not a big guy for the weight, Rory, but he's just so physically and technically strong. Funny story about me and Rory. I'll see if I can find the link and we can put it there. Me and him had gold and silver. So me and him fought in the final Hereford Open. I had gold, he had silver.
Yeah.
Of the Hereford Open. It was the men's division, but I was 16 and he had just turned 17. So neither of us was old enough to be in the men's category, but we just both entered anyway. And we ended up, I think we had like 6 fights each or something like that to get to the final. And we ended up having gold and silver. And that was probably 12 odd years ago. I'm sure the video's about somewhere on YouTube. And we've kind of come up on the scene together. Obviously, only thing that's held Rory back a bit is injuries. I think he had it 2 or 3 fucking knee ops, so that's why he has now. Like, well, I remember I was 12-0 amateur, he was 10-0, and our gyms, he was with Chris Reese at the time. We would never fight each other our gyms because we were quite friendly and trained a bit together. And yeah, now he's coming full circle. Now we're in the gym training together.
That's pretty cool,
as
isn't it?
Teammates, yeah. So it's funny one because I've known him for years and known how good he is for years. So it's good to see now that he's looking like he's 5-3 now. If he can put together another 5 wins, there's no reason why he can't be knocking on the door either.
Yeah. Well, that's what when I come up the other day, I was thinking I could see a couple of new faces about when I was filming.
Yeah.
So that's good though, isn't it? Yeah, it's always good to get the growth.
Yeah, like Jack's up, Rory's up. The team's growing constantly. Do you know what I mean? We're constantly having, to be honest, our track record speaks for itself. You look at how, especially we haven't really got that many pro fighters in a minute. We've got me, Brett, Oban, Josh, and the only other real active one who's coming back is Martin. Martin's back in the mix, Steph. But in turn, we've probably got double the amount of amateurs that we've got pros. And if we look at our amateur record last year, I think we lost maybe 5 to 10% of the fights max.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the majority of them are finishes as well. So the amateur record speaks for itself. You know, we got Rowan now going out to Serbia today. He's gone out to do the World Championship. Him and Notorious Neil have flown out together. Notorious Neil is the official Welsh corner for the weekend. Wild to me as well, just to touch on it, like, Rowan's the only Welsh guy that's gone out, and it's kind of like, you know, the amateurs, they should be fucking jumping at this opportunity to fight in the World Championships and the European Championships. Like, IMAF is out there now. It's a proven track, the UFC. It's a fast track to the UFC.
Do you reckon they can use that in promotion, can't they?
100%. Like, look at Makayev. He was, 30 something like that he was as an amateur. I think he had 25 of them fights in the IMAF, 2-time world champion. Within 4 fights, he was signed to the UFC. Chris Duncan, multiple bronze and silvers in the IMAF. Yeah. Within 6 fights, he's in the UFC. Mine took a little bit longer because I wanted to win the Cage Warriors belt, and Cage Warriors was a little bit more stacked at the time. But I was the same, won the IMAF Euros, 10 fights, I'm in the UFC. And that's just British boys. I can't remember their name, but there's an American guy. What's his name? Rosa. Paul Rosa Jr. Yeah. IMAF world champion.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
What was he? 5-0, 4-0? Bang, straight in the UFC. So why people are not more keen to go out and test themselves? I don't know. I mean, it's not even about winning it. If you want to be considered one of the best in the world or the best in the world, you should be willing to just fight anyone. And like, this is why Rowan's going out. There's no one left for Rowan to fight domestically.
Yeah.
He's cleaned up in the UK. So he's going out there now, give or take, the test if he's ready for pro. If he goes out there and does well in medals, he's ready to go pro. If he goes out there and doesn't go well, he'll probably come back to the drawing board and decide what to do from there. So amateurs should be jumping at it. It's a proven path to the big shows. And if you really do believe you go where it takes but at the top level, then this will show this will show, won't it? You go out there and that was my idea when I went and done it. It's like, if I win this, then I'm ready to go pro. If I don't win this, then I'm not the best amateur about, so I ain't going to be the best pro about. So, good luck to Rowan. We'll leave it at that. Good luck to Rowan. He's gone out with his old man. I think they've had a little bit of difficulty. Their flight got delayed or something, but they are officially en route. And my nutritionist and S&C guy, Paul Reed, he's one of the head guys at Team England, so he's on his way out there as well. So he's just texted me literally on the podcast, and I was like, don't panic, we've just met up with Rowan in Munich or something like that. So
he is en route.
So he's in good hands. He's very much in good hands.
Happy days. So just a couple of questions for you then, I suppose. Going into London now, obviously, like last fight was a loss. Is there anything different mentally you prepare for this one, or do you just go in like the same?
Yeah, no, not really. It kind of feels like I've got a bit of a monkey off my back, to tell the truth. Whereas before, although I never should try and think about the undefeated record, obviously to keep the hype train going, you got to keep winning, and there's always that pressure to get the finish and all this and that. Now it feels like there's a weight have been lifted off my shoulders. It's not like, if he wins this, you'll go and fight O'Malley and you'll go and fight the top boys and push the title. It's kind of none of that, this fight at the minute. It's like new weight class. Going in. It feels like when I was with Cage Warriors early on, we were just like, go in there, the fight's the fight, go in there and just, I'm not going to be weight drained, and I'm going to have hopefully enough energy to just go out there and try and stick it on him.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like the pressure's off. Like, I know what it's like to lose. I haven't got like that shadow over me of, gotta keep the undefeated record. It's like, just go out there and fight. And I know if I fight to the best of my ability and fight how I'm fighting in the gym, and fight to the game plan, that I can and I will finish him. But anything can happen in a fight. So
do you think it opens you up more to, I'm going in there to win rather than going in there to not lose?
Yeah.
Because like you're trying to go in there to win rather than be like, I don't want to lose my record, I want to win. It's like a different, changes like your outlook a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, like you look at, take him for example, Mark One, he's lost, I think, 8 fights, something like that. So he's not going in there, is he, to not lose. He's going to come in, do his best to win. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But like you said, sometimes you can go in there to not lose, can't you?
Yeah, you're focusing on not losing, and you probably not as
just
fluid
do that bare minimum to win. Bang, I've won. We're all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help the UFC pay structure to an extent where it's like you double your money if you win. So obviously everyone, it's all well and good thinking I'm going to go out there and put on a show. Ultimately, you want to win to double your money, but I'm all right for money at the minute, and
the way decisions go as well. This day
you can't ever guarantee a win. You
can't
ever guarantee a win with the judges. So I'm just gonna go out there, lay it all on the line, and I'm confident that it'll all go well. Yeah. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We go back to the drawing board. One thing the last fight showed me is life doesn't change when you lose.
Yeah.
Not
only if you let it.
Only if you let it. Yeah, your family still think the same of you. Your friends still think the same of you. Your teammates still think the same of you. Like, still go home. Still have a missus, the dogs in the house. I still have the gym to go to. I still have my friends to go and catch up with. No one's going to abandon you. No one of any decency is going to abandon you after a loss anyway. People will still listen to the Tanted Up podcast. So, but again,
you're fucking better.
I don't. That doesn't mean I endorse the attitude of, well done, man, if you lose. You should go out there every time to win. Losing shouldn't be an option in your mind. Although it is a ready available option, because someone got to win, someone got to lose, unless it's a draw, obviously. It shouldn't really be in your mind entering a fight. You should go in there with full confidence. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to smash him to pieces. But if it does happen, you can deal with it there and then. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Well, good luck, mate, anyway.
Yeah, well, thank you, Joe. As if I ain't going to speak to him before the fight. Like.
Yeah, I know, but these people don't know that, do they?
Have we got any other questions? Or I'm just saying, do we have anything else on the list to go over?
I don't think so.
We can quickly go over the London card, I suppose. You got... They all announced pretty much all the fights, and then Leon's fight in Usman.
Great fight.
And then you got Gaethje and Fiziev.
That's awesome that they're bringing, because that one would usually be in America, wouldn't it? It's great that they're bringing like an American fight to
that
UK.
Is worth the
£10,000
worth
for
the entry fee. Well, it's easy for me to say I'm going to buy a ticket, but I think everyone's like, no, it's not worth the entry fee. But
yeah. I know what you mean, though.
It's a barn burner. As long as that lasts, it'll be a barn. I just seen Alan Mack's already been announced as well in April. I know for a fact they wanted that on the London card, but Arnold had a little I don't know if it was an injury or visa thing that he had to get or maybe Max had a visa issue. I don't know. They had to,
That's a great fight.
They had to knock it back. So as great as a fight it is, I'm gutted. I would have loved for that one to be on the UK. Even if it would have knocked me off the main card, I would have loved to have had that one. But it'll be a better fight over 5 rounds anyway, I think. Oh yeah, especially with they both got hell of an engine on him as well, and Arnold just doesn't stop from the second. He's just wind him up and watch him go, isn't it? Because Arnold's unbelievable, and then you've got Max, and although he's lost his last fight to Volkanovski, it's kind of like you don't look at that loss and think, is he past his best? It's kind of like, well, no, you lost the best guy on the planet. He's just as dangerous as anyone in the division. This is dangerous for Arnold because he probably could have hung out 100%. And got a title shot, whereas now, I think if they hadn't done an interim title fight, he probably would have. Yeah. But like you said, they're going to have the interim title fight. If Volk beats Islam, I guarantee that fight happens again. They'll rematch. So, to be honest, though, I'm a bit disappointed they didn't put Arnold in for the interim instead of Rodriguez. I would have liked to have seen that as well. As good as Rodriguez is, I think he's 3-2 in his last 5. Arnold's never lost in the UFC. It would have been nice to see Arnold get a shot. But maybe they wanted to and the timing didn't work. I don't know. But and momentum, they probably wanted it on this card, didn't they? I suppose. So with him being injured, it's a no-go. Yeah, of course. But the momentum Arnold's got as well. He's starching people as well. And he's... Well, if I'm honest, I think Arnold... I think fighting Holloway is better for his career than fighting Emmett or Rodriguez for an interim title anyway. Bigger name. It's a bigger name. I think automatically, regardless of who the interim champion is, if you beat Holloway, they're kind of like, right, well, he's got to fight for the belt next. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't for the fact that Max has lost so many times to Volk, he'd be in that interim fight. 100% he would. Wouldn't he? It's only because they don't want him to win that and have to fight Volk again. They just drop him straight in there, wouldn't they? Yeah. They can't risk him fighting Volk again because he's just looking to look bad. Yeah, because the last fight with Volk, as close as the first two was very conclusive, wasn't it? But yeah, really, really wish... we'll try and get Arnold on, because he'd be a hell of a guest. He's a funny fucker. Yeah. But yeah, massive fight for the not just for him, but for the UK as well, because definitely he wins that, we're legitimately got another chance of a UK heavyweight champion, a UK UFC champion. Out of camp, maybe. Yeah. Shout out Tom Aspinall. He'll be back soon. He'll be a heavyweight champ. But yeah, I think that's it. Wrap it up, is it? Yeah, we're wrapping up. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget, we have got a Patreon. There's a little Train with Tank teaser on our Instagram that is Sky. I think we've had 12,000 views in 24 hours, less than that. So go and have a look at that if you like the look of it. I think we got, how many have we got on there now? We got about 20 odd Train with Tank videos. All the previous ones as well. Yeah, go on there, you'll get the previous ones. There's lots of other benefits as well. If you want to support us, that's great, because it means we can keep this shit running. So thank you all, and we'll catch you soon. Boom. Bash. Wanna play my piece like listening to a Strally bang. If it's beefy and losing, keep it moving like a caravan. See feds at the back door. Get go, that's what we trap for. Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock them ain't like I'm Jack Shaw. Rolls hat, rolls back, my flow sharp like a hacksaw. Getting off.